Hello everybody and welcome back to KSP2, where I did a little bit of research on the decoupler bug, and according to the internet, if you switch it out so that the decoupler is the only thing in the stage, apparently that makes it work. So we'll give that a go. I'm going to make a quick save right here, just in case, and let's just go ahead and start trying this. So, we get rid of one of those. We get rid of 2, 3, and 4. Cool. So in theory, this should be working now. So we get rid of that excess mass. That's great. And at this point, this all moved down into this stage. I am not sure exactly what's going on with that, but we'll just let that go on forward, and hopefully that works. If it doesn't, we'll revert back to that save that I just made. Now, the next decouple event is here. You'll see I've split all of these out into just single events. So hopefully that fixes the problem. Okay. Let's warp on forward here, and we're going to do our braking burn over the moon. Excellent. And everything crackened. Okay, well, we'll revert back to that save that we just made. So we'll just load that back in. This is definitely having some issues. Definitely having some issues. So let's try this again. Oh boy. Okay. So this is saying that we don't have enough resources. It's also lying. We're going to get rid of these. And we're going to warp on forward. Okay, so see here, these actually stopped movement. So they might or might not be connected to us. We'll see after we finish this warp. It kind of looks like they are, doesn't it? Well, we'll find out. So we'll just continue to warp forward here a little bit, and hopefully we don't blow up when we stop this warp. That would be very awkward indeed. 3, 2, 1, mark. Yeah, they are indeed connected to us. We decouple this, and we immediately start tumbling. That's very interesting. But we are actually separated, but we can see all of this is connected to us. So, we gotta revert it again. Oof. Oof. It should actually be this one that we revert to. Okay. Well, I think that we should just simply not decouple our nose cones. I think that makes a lot more sense right now. So I'm going to move these back together. And we're going to place those up here. I just don't want to have to deal with that. Cool. So now we're going to quick save again and warp on forward. Hopefully we don't explode after this warp. We'll find out. Seems to be about 20% of the time. Cool. We'll warp forward a little bit further here. And we're going to commence our burn in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay. This is going much better. This decouple was clean, so that looks good. And I'm not sure how accurate this burn timer really is. We're probably going to be working off of this. This is saying that we're going to impact. I think that's incorrect. This is not the maneuver that we set up. We're just going to have to do this via some guesswork, I guess, which is very, very awkward. But it's fine for now. We're just going to continue our burn here. I have no idea what our thrust to weight is right now. So that's definitely very interesting. I guess we'll see eventually what our thrust to weight may or may not be as we're landing. It's going to be kind of weird to land with these instruments that we have too. That might take some trial and error. I'll probably quick save and allow myself to revert with the primitiveness of the tools that we have in KSP2. I also don't like the gimbal lock that this gets up over here. Yikes. Okay. For the record, Quaternions should fix that, but okay, whatever. We're just going to bring in our apoapsis here until we're about 50 kilometers. I don't care about this maneuver anymore. We're just going to lock to retrograde and bring in our periapsis. Oh, we can pin this open. Interesting. You have to click on the actual tooltip. Fascinating. We're going to bring this open, or bring this down to about 50,000 kilometers for the time being. This'll do. So once we get around to the periapsis, we can just warp to here. Yes, lack of stellar exposure. And once we get around to the periapsis, we want to flip on over right. We can't turn while time warping. Okay. Let's make our way on over. Cool. And we're, of course, going to pull down this apoapsis up here, assuming I can get that open. There we go. That is now pinned. Does that pin stay open when we close and reopen the map? No, that resets it. Okay, good to know. Cool. So we're just bringing this on in. Landing here would probably be reasonably okay, but it looks like we've got a decent amount of landing area further ahead, so that's okay. We'll get aligned for this here, and our periapsis is going to be in about a minute here. I'm just going to do this without maneuvers, completely by gut. Normally I would use maneuvers, but we're not going to do that for right now. Okay, so we're basically in position right now. Let's just warp ahead a little bit, I think, to about 30 seconds before the periapsis. Somewhere around here-ish. Technically that's 40 seconds, but close enough. Cool. And let's go ahead and commence a burn here. Bringing our apoapsis down to... well, we're just trying to circularize it, roughly. Cool, that'll do. Yep, that's completely fine. So with that all good, we want to switch over to surface velocity. 500 meters per second, huh? I'm wondering what our thrust to weight is. I'm going to go ahead and quick save here. And that's our non-stageable resources. Yes, I wish that the parts manager mentioned in here what our thrust to weight was. That would be really convenient to know the current thrust to weight. Unfortunately, it doesn't. It shows us the ISP, which is convenient, I suppose. Actually, it only shows us the ISP of one of these engines, presumably because it's activated. But it does not show us the thrust to weight, which is sad. There may be a way to get that in here. This is a flight report, which is not what we're looking for. And then there is Action Group, Resource, and Kerbal Managers. Sure, that's not what we're looking for either. So I think we're just going to look to bring this on in. And we're going to have to do this very much blind. And I'm a little nervous about doing it blind with the tooling that we have available here. Okay, I'm just checking our forward path here. Yeah, we're probably fine. I have no idea how bumpy the surface of worlds are in KSP2. That is something that we'll probably need to figure out at some point. Let's go ahead and kill our surface velocity at this time. We'll give this a go. We should also extend our landing legs. There we go. This wobble is interesting. Not entirely sure what's up with that. I feel like we should be a lot more stable than this. This engine does have gimbaling. But okay. We're down to about 300 meters per second over the surface right now. And the real question is, what is our horizontal versus vertical velocity? Now, this is not something that base KSP told us. This was something that we relied on Kerbal Engineer for. So the fact that base KSP2 doesn't expose that information isn't hugely shocking. We can estimate it based on our surface velocity and how close we are to the horizon here. So we're mostly in surface speed right now. I'm assuming that we're coming in for a landing, yes, and it's going to be kind of in this rough territory over here. But that's probably fine. Probably. So we're bringing this on in. We've got a lot of fuel left over here. And we are going to be staging that and getting rid of it eventually. But we can see our surface velocity is definitely dropping. Cool. Yep, we can definitely see that. Okay. I'm turning our RCS on to angle us a little bit better here. And we're basically dropping straight on in, right? We've got plenty of delta V for this. In theory, we could land on this, but we're not going to. We're going to burn this speed down eventually, but I'm content for the moment. I'm going to quick save here just in case I mess this up, which is very possible with these tools. But we're just going to warp on forward here a little bit. 100 meters per second. Once we hit 200 meters per second, I think we're going to do a braking burn. Yep. Let's do it. Commencing braking burn. Thrust to weight here is not tremendously high. I can tell you that. But we're bringing this on down to about 100 meters per second. Once we're there, I mean, we've got lots of fuel here, right? We can drop this down. Are we still going up, or are we going down here? Okay, we're decelerating. That's good to know. Okay. So I'm going to let us coast for a while longer here. Still feeling out the thrust to weight. Wish I knew the exact number, but I don't see a way to actually get that information. So we're just going to bring this on down. And once we hit about 150, I feel like we should begin another braking burn. Is there a difference between sea level and radar altitude in this game? Yes, there is. We are in radar altitude mode by default. Got it. We don't care about sea level altitude on the moon, of course. So our current altitude is still like 10 kilometers, well, 12 kilometers. So we don't want to burn too hard here. We'll just gently bring this on in. This would be much more efficient implemented as a suicide burn, but of course, I don't have the tooling to do that. I'm not going to calculate those. Actually, we don't even have the ability to calculate that. Without knowing the exact thrust to weight, we can't figure that out. So that's just not possible at this moment. Our target speed is now about 90 meters per second. So we're going to bring this down to about 80. There we go. And continue to fall. Cool. We're just doing this the very, very old-fashioned way at this point. We're about 8 kilometers up right now. It feels like we're higher than that for some reason. But let's go ahead and decelerate. 70 meters per second, actually more like 60 is our current target speed. There we go. And very soon we're going to detach these tanks. We're going to waste some fuel in them, but that's fine. We're 6 kilometers up right now. Make that 5. Well, 5 soon. 5 now. Cool. So now that I know the workaround for the decoupler bug, things are better. Like, the game is functional, but you still have to rely a lot on quick saving. There are still random explodey bits, shall we say. That's definitely a thing that happens. And to be clear, the decoupler thing is a workaround. It's clearly a bug. It should not work that way. So we're slowing down again, down to about 30 meters per second. Looking good. We're going to decouple this at about 1 kilometer from the surface. And we're going to start slowing down to about 20 meters per second here, right about now. That'll do. And I guess we may as well just burn a little bit here. Something along the lines of this. Maybe a little less. Cool. We're currently accelerating, but not very much. We're 2 kilometers above the surface. And realistically, we definitely could have landed by now. But I'm playing it very, very safe here. There's no doubt about that. Let's begin a slight deceleration. Again, we're going to ditch all of this fuel about 1 kilometer from the surface. We're 1.5 right now. And continuing to decelerate. 1.4. Starting to see individual features on the surface now. Cool. 1.2. Looks like our landing site is around there. Got it. 1.1 kilometers above the surface. 1 kilometer from the surface, dropping throttle right now, staging, and firing that engine. Okay. I want to see... Okay, that's a slight deceleration. This is a reasonable deceleration here. We're 800 meters from the surface right now. Moving at about 12 meters per second. 10 meters per second. Throttling down. Can we actually, like, drag this? We can. For more fine control. Explosions going on over there, to be expected. And, are we not actually pulling fuel in from these outer areas? They should have fuel lines. I'm just noticing this and thinking, I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but whatever. We're at 7.4 meters per second and continuing to slow it on down. We're still about 400 meters up. We're just very gently slowing down. I'm going to throttle us down slightly here to 28%. Holding at 6.7, 6.6. Okay. I'm not actually sure if we're drawing from these fuel tanks or not. I'm guessing we would need to go into the resource manager. Well, whatever. We're about 250 meters up right now, moving at 6.5 meters per second. Cool. We're continuing to decelerate. We're going to take this up to about 30% thrust shortly. We're still 170 meters up. There's our shadow. Beautiful. I'm going to switch us over into capture mode, I guess, or body mode. Yeah, there we go. This is the mode that I want. Now let's bring this up to about 30% thrust and continue to decelerate. I want to be in lock mode. We're moving at about 5 meters per second. Okay. 3 meters per second. Looks like we're going to tip over maybe a little bit here. This leg clipped through at first, and now we're just kind of resting on the leg. But that looks good. We managed to successfully land on the moon despite the bugs. Fantastic. So that is good. We can have Bob EVA if we want. We did not include ladders on this version. Do Kerbals have an EVA pack? I don't know. I'm going to quick save here, and we're going to have Bob EVA. And the question now is, we can board or let go. This looks like it might be an EVA pack. Yes, he has an EVA pack. Cool. Do we turn it on via the RCS? Okay, apparently so. Whoa. Turning him moves the camera with it in a really disorienting way. Okay. Well, let's just Ooh, I don't like that. I feel like... Ooh, this is going forward. That was weird. Okay, is there a better camera mode? EVA ground. Okay, this is a much better camera mode. Fantastic. This makes more sense. Cool. Of course, there's not really anything for us to do here other than plant a flag. We got here. Oh, it auto caps and doesn't allow exclamation marks. Okay. Despite the bugs. Woohoo! Okay, there we go. Cool, plant the flag. Excellent. And let's go home. Boy, this is some exciting thrust to weight here. Okay, it just needed us to leave the surface. Got it. So we're going to hop back over this... Ooh, hang on. This direction. There we go. And we'll board, and let's get out of here. The real question, though, is, are we fuel flowing? And I don't quite know how to answer that question, to be honest. So, I'm sure there's a way to see this somewhere. Okay, so this tank is at about half. This tank is about half. This tank is half. This tank is half. Got it. So we were burning out of these tanks. Cool. That is what I wanted to see. Okay, let's head home. We're out of here. We're going to immediately make our way over this direction towards the horizon-ish, but we need to get some altitude. Okay. Let's just park somewhere around here, and we can retract these legs. Beautiful. Kerbal, we are coming home. So we're just going to park here until we are... So, this is only 270 delta V? That doesn't seem right. This number is going up a lot higher than this, or a lot faster than this number is going down. I don't know what's up with that, but whatever. We are out of here. Apoapsis is currently about 5 kilometers. I think we're safe at this point to go directly to the horizon. And so we shall. We can see our time to Apoapsis is currently decreasing. So we may actually need to get a little bit more altitude. We'll see. We are getting good velocity, though, so I think it should be okay-ish. Ish. How are we doing on the map? Yeah, we're going to need more altitude. So let's go ahead and grab a little bit more altitude here. There we go. Time to Apoapsis is now increasing from here. So we'll just park here until our Apoapsis is like, I don't know, 10-ish kilometers. Should be fine. That's 6K. 7. And realistically, we can go back to the horizon now. But that's like 13 kilometers. So that looks good. Okay. So at this point, of course, we're going to want to circularize around here. We'll just use a maneuver for that and do something along the lines of... Ooh, that's difficult to circularize, but close enough. This is indicating our current point, right? Okay. So we want to start this burn in about 6 minutes, and we will head on over to that point. We can turn much more easily now that our weight is much, much lower. And yeah, this is definitely strange in terms of the delta V that it thinks that we have. There's no doubt about that. Let's go ahead and warp to this maneuver. We're pretty low, so our warp speed is going to be limited. But let's just get ourselves into orbit around the moon here, and then next episode we'll go home, and we'll evaluate if we want to give this game more time in the oven before we continue with it or not. We'll see. We'll evaluate that after this flight is over. Now that we figured out the decoupler bug, I feel like things are much, much more manageable. So that's good. To be clear, the bug does need to be fixed, but it can be worked around, at least in part. Okay, and this is a potential issue too, but we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Okay, good enough. Excellent. So we are back in orbit around the moon, and at this point we want to plot a return, and that'll be... I'm actually going to warp to about here. There we go. Just because I want to be around here, which was where we were, and do a prograde burn to return us back to Kerbal next episode. So that'll be something along the lines of this, right? And in theory, we can pin open this periapsis. Ooh, it still goes away when we open this maneuver plan. I don't care for that. What is this at? 350 kilometers? Yeah, that's a lot of guesswork there for sure. That should do-ish. We can fine-tune that at this apoapsis, so that would be fine. But that'll be something for next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, and Lohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisil, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.